Hey guys, so very important video today called Self-Improvement Does Not Create Raw Attraction. That is, self-improvement does not create raw attraction. And the reason I'm talking about this is that I had some comments on the YouTube section regarding a video that I put out a few days ago. And there was a comment by a guy called Maurizio. Thank you, Maurizio. And he said, 2 words debunk all red pill content. Jeremy Meeks. And I said, you mean prove, not debunk. And Maurizio says, but why so? If Jeremy Meeks didn't have to learn game, was not making more money, was not making more muscle, was not on his purpose at the time, he only needed a mugshot. Okay, and I said, those things you mention are all self-improvement, nice to have, but nothing to do with raw attraction. Broke, skinny bad boys without jobs, I've known, have gotten the best girls. And if you think Jeremy Meeks is just about looks, then you're wrong. Okay, so look, the whole Jeremy Meeks thing, to be honest, it's kind of old hat. It blew up back in 2014 to about 2016. Jeremy Meeks was this guy who was in jail for various felonies. The police put out a mugshot of him. He was really good looking, so loads of girls went crazy about him on social media. And when he came out in 2016, he got a modelling contract, and he then went on to marry the daughter of Sir Philip Green, who's a clothing magnate billionaire, a lady called Chloe Green. Those got married, and he became a model and started living the high life, blah, blah, blah. Now, as it is, content creators in this space kind of jumped on this at the time because really it proved something very fundamental that we talk about when we talk about dating issues. And that is to say that for the most part, women look for kind of 2 things in guys. On the one hand, they look for the exciting bad boy because that's sexy, that's thrilling, it's what romance is made of, in a sense. And on the other hand, they look for the kind of stable provider type character who's going to be there to maybe get married to her and start a family. So there are 2 quite divergent objectives and agendas there for women. And, you know, broadly speaking, perhaps we might say younger women tend to be looking for the exciting alpha dude. And then as the women get slightly older and they're thinking more about settling down, they're looking for the more responsible guy. But of course, then after the woman maybe has settled down and had a family and, you know, maybe she gets a little bit bored with her husband and then she's looking around, she's after the sort of sexy bad boy again. And of course, by the way, I should emphasize here that Jeremy Meeks is of that archetype. He is the thrilling bad boy that these women love for a certain purpose at a certain point in their lives, but not necessarily for the long term. Okay, so if you are the archetype of the sexy bad boy, the alpha in inverted commas kind of dude, then of course it's not necessary for you to be on your purpose, to be a responsible, high quality member of society, you know, to be making necessarily even a load of money. It's not even necessary, guys, to be particularly ripped. And guys go crazy about this because they think that in order to be attractive, you have to be this roid head, huge kind of guy. Actually, that's not the case because for a start, you need to look at K-pop videos and look at what the guys in those videos are like, who are loved by millions of women the world over. Look at the guys that are actually marketed towards women. Don't tend to be gym bros. But yeah, anyway, regardless of that, the key thing here is really that, of course, somebody like Jeremy Meeks didn't need to bring those other things to the table because he was in that archetype. He's in that category of the sexy bad boy. Okay, now the reason I believe that Maurizio and people like Maurizio will bring this up is because what they're saying, the argument they're making, is that it's all about looks. And some other commentators confirmed that on the thread later on. It's only about looks. The only reason that Jeremy Meeks was found attractive by these women was his looks. Now, Maurizio makes a factual error in his comment because he says that Jeremy Meeks was not working on building more muscle. Now, we don't know that. There's a very good chance that when he was in jail, he was working on building more muscle, you know. But even if he wasn't, the fact of the matter is that clearly Meeks had a very good physique anyway. So physique is something that you can control, right? So firstly, bear that in mind, like, because the argument these people are trying to make is that all of this stuff is out of your control, so you might as well just give up and, say la vie, let the chips fall where they may. And that's not entirely true, because, as I say, for a start, while you may not be as good looking as Jeremy Meeks, you could certainly work in order to improve your physique, even though in the big scheme of things that's not necessary, or it's not entirely necessary, because the massive elephant in the room here that Maurizio and others are ignoring is, as I say, that Jeremy Meeks was a bad boy, okay? And that added hugely to his appeal. And also, on top of that, he'd also achieved fame, okay? So you've got a bad boy, who's also in good shape, by the way, although that's, as I say, secondary, who's achieved fame. Well, of course, the more women that find out about him, it becomes a snowball effect, because social proof, more and more women find out about it, and that makes him even more attractive. But the bad boy thing really can't be understated. And again, the way that you come across, are you just the compliant, nice, kind of conformist dude who's likely to get put into that provider bucket, or are you the slightly more edgy, bad boy type character? Well, really, you want to be the latter, right? Because those are the guys who tend to get rewarded by the society that we're in. And that is also within your control. You can't sit there and say, well, I was just born a nice guy, so there's nothing I can do about that. Because clearly that's something that you can influence, that you can control. And that makes up a big part of his appeal, okay? So yes, you've got looks, but you've also got physique, which is controllable by you. You've also got the very important aspect of the bad boy thing. And again, I should say, of course, I don't condone anything that Meeks did. I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything criminal or anything underhand or to harm anybody or anything like that at all. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. But we have to recognize that it's possible for the nice guy, who can come across as being a bit beige and a little bit dull and a little bit boring, it's possible for that guy to spice up his persona with a sprinkling of bad boy magic, right? And that is going to make him more attractive, and that is something that you can control. And so the self-improvement stuff, go to the gym, have black coffee in the morning, cold showers, work on your mission, all that kind of stuff. Those things are great, and you should be doing those things. We should all be doing those things anyway, right? Because those are going to lead us to have a good, a decent existence on this planet. It's going to make our lives more enjoyable. So for sure, work on those things. But recognize that some of the most successful guys in terms of dating and in terms of romance tend to be, could be guys who are penniless, who are sleeping on a mattress in somebody's sitting room, who are skinny, who maybe have substance abuse issues and all of that. This is just the way things go. Why are those guys attractive? Because they've got that dark triad, that slightly bad boy kind of vibe to them, okay? So as woo-woo as it sounds, it really, really does, to a large degree, come down to the way that you present yourself, the way that you come across, okay? Jeremy Meeks, as it is a good-looking man, of course. He became a model. But there are plenty of examples of guys who fit into this mold who aren't as facially good looking as him, but they've just got that thing about them. They've just got that X factor, that special kind of like sauce. And that is something that you can definitely influence. So in summary, the Jeremy Meeks story proves, if you like, it underlines a lot of what bloggers and commentators have been saying about the way that gender relationships work, and some of the things that these people had said that women are attracted to. It certainly underlines those points, and it also underlines the fact that women have this somewhat dual mating strategy, a mating and dating strategy, if you like, in the sense that, in the one hand, in the one bucket, they've got the sexy alpha dude, the Jeremy Meeks dude, who they want for a good time, but not necessarily for a long time, because the guy they want for a long time is going to be that more stable type provider-y kind of guy. And as I say, if you're in the first bucket, you don't need to be working on your purpose. You don't need to be doing that kind of stuff. So my advice off the back of all of this is you want to position yourself so you appear like you fit in the first bucket, so you don't need the self-improvement and, the building your mission and all that kind of thing. But you should also be building the mission and working on yourself in the background, because that's just going to make you have a better time on this planet. But don't make the mistake of thinking that raw attraction is created just through self-improvement, because it really isn't. It's, you know, like I say, there are guys who are complete dirtbags, really, who are extremely attracted to women. And there are guys who are very fine, upstanding citizens who've got everything sorted out, and they're not. So understand why that is the case and tailor your presentation to the world accordingly. Okay, this is all stuff that I teach in CAD Academy, right? It's going to be open again in November. Look out for that. There'll be more messages about that coming out on the channel soon. Yeah, you know, that's it really from me now. But I thought it was important to make that point, because sometimes guys do get confused with this message. They think, oh, if I just self-improve enough, it's going to get me to here. And that's not necessarily the case, because you also need a bit more of that X factor as well. Please do subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, get on my free daily email list, link is below, support me on Patreon, and if you'd like to read more of my writing about all of this stuff, then go to the link below and you can get Renegade Dating Blueprint, my collection of 11 books. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.